Hello everybody, we've got a semi-blind Jerry with us tonight. Polishing his glasses.
It's not a euphemism.
No, not really. So, before we start, I was just aware of an article Warren has put up. So, if I understand this text correctly, he and Warcradle Studios have come up with a plan to, let's say,
spread the coronavirus to as many people as possible.
Yes,
by the medium of gaming.
Giving more people the virus via sending out infected shields and stickers for your local friendly game store to apply to her customers.
Yeah, it worked well for the Americans with smallpox blankets, so I imagine it'll work well for us as well.
Yeah, I think this is a very nice idea, especially for all those smaller shops who might look into their local printing service and ask, what do 20 signs printing cost?
It's certainly interesting. I don't know how it's going to work for some places. For example, we've got 8 tables laid out in a U shape. Now, to maintain social distancing, I would assume you would only be able to have every other table with somebody at it.
Yeah, probably.
But we also have then the online store where the packing room is behind one set of tables. So realistically, actually, you're not getting those. So having to go in and go, you can be at this table, not that table, this table, and mark them off does make sense.
Yeah. And having the step here for social distancing, and these shields are much more pleasant to wear over the course of a day than the mask is.
I imagine those are for staff.
Yeah, I would say so too.
So yeah, it's good.
It's a nice work. I just thought I might give it a shout out.
I think he's probably he's going to be mentioning it on the Weekender. But if anybody is in I don't know how far they're extending it. Certainly the UK and Ireland. Anybody who has a game store, so like Mountain Gremlin Games, The Gathering in the south, people like that, or if you have a local game store who you think might benefit from this, the article has the details for who to contact at Warcradle. I don't think it's Richard. I think it's been divvied down to some of his minions, but the details are in there.
Contacts below, sales team Warcradle or phone number. So
yeah,
give them a call, pester them a bit.
Yeah. Who knows? Some of us may make it out of this alive.
Yeah, this is a nice point to start for a shitty day I had.
Did you? We've had another storm here in Ireland. That's the third in as many days, with risks of high winds and flooding.
Oh, bloody hell.
So much so that to make a mess. So much so that there's an Irish website called Waterford Whispered News, which is like The Onion. It's like a spoof site, but it's down south, and they did an article on how Ireland was terrible. Let me just see if I can find the headline for that one, just to give you a rough idea of how this shit's panning out. Status orange rainfall warning in place for the rest of your miserable lives is the heading the Waterford Whispered News chose to go with.
Well, if you can't, if you don't have anything nice to say, why not go full ham on the negative?
Heavy rain mixed with wind is expected to dominate the majority of your existence on this forsaken island. If you've any delusions contrary to the fact, you should probably just move somewhere else. A spokesman explained.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah. Now, the only good thing is that left us about midday, and last I heard was fucking over England and Wales in a big way. So, you know, it's blown on to pastures new.
Yeah.
Firefox to it. Enjoy.
My day has been shit because we have been told no on 2 houses we were looking at. And,
oh dear.
Yeah, it's starting to drive me nuts. So if I'm
in the Danelaw,
I can't really make heads nor tail from what you just said.
It's what they used to call the English parts of Denmark, the Danelaw.
Oh, it's just it would be comforting to get a place of your own at some point in your life, and I think I'm close to past that point, having that done in a relaxing
Have you
way.
considered following single people home from a bar and then just taking theirs? Just saying. It's just an idea. Yeah, Mandy's got it. Capture the house by force. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm considering it. So if I'm a bit more nasty on some projects as usual, that's because why I need to vent.
Oh, okay. Well, at least we know there's a reason for you. I'm just a cunt like normal, so that's my reason.
You live in Ireland, isn't that reason enough?
Yeah, could be.
Then there's your employer and the storm situation.
Yeah, it's all terrible.
Horrible people. Speaking of horrors.
Yes.
Now it's down. So Jerry and I are playing with the lovely Lena and some weird dude on Twitch. We are playing
That's his name.
World War Cthulhu with Tuffy as GM, and she has set up a project which I had just a small glimpse at, and she has put in there the progress we are making, the maps we are using.
Progress? Quote.
Well, we're 3 evenings in, we're still alive. I call that progress.
I call that stagnation, but for Cthulhu, yeah, that could be viewed as progress of a sort.
And she has found some lovely pictures for this. So this is Lena's character.
So that looks not dissimilar to how she's rolled that character.
No, I think that's how she...
Size 18, I think she is. So yeah,
also
she's a big
the slight lunatic gaze in the eyes. Here we have
gaze in her eyes.
The young Jerry snagging up all the guns he can get.
All the gun. I don't need the guns. I just need the gunpowder from the ammo. That's all I need.
This is our lovely friend, Laughing Boy. Though that has to be adjusted, as Jerry just told me, because he has a picture.
He does. Laughing Boy is using. I introduced Laughing Boy and a couple of other people to role playing last year via the medium of Discord, which is a great way to get into it if you haven't played before. So I ran a Cthulhu game where I give them pre-generated characters, and he was playing a Irish farmer. And then we were talking about rolling up characters for this, and there was a section where if you had a character from the 20s and you wanted to export it from your previous game into World War Cthulhu, it gave you rules for doing that and the new skills and extra points you got. So he just took his guy and just moved him into the British Army. So he has a photo that's not that. Ballpark age is about right, actually. But
I think the aging is correct.
Yeah, it's not far off it.
This is my character.
Well, that's your character. I expected him to have more of a handlebar mustache, to be fair.
Well,
Waxed,
not really.
Prussian.
It's since he's in the mid-40s like I am, I don't think there's much of a moustache going on.
Yeah, you say that.
That's a misconception.
What rank were you in the Wehrmacht before you got captured?
I think some kind of Feldwebel or sergeant equivalent.
Yeah,
So
you're probably not high enough to actually be allowed to have a mustache.
No officer, but the one who knows enough to get out of the officer's way and knows more than the normal grunt on the floor.
Well,
so yeah. Since I just horribly spilled some lemonade all over my table and now my hands are sticky as fuck, I'm just taking a short hand wash break. I'm leaving Jerry with you, so Jerry,
okay.
will you kindly welcome all the new people?
Yeah, I'll entertain the troops while he's mopping himself down, wiping himself out, rubbing one off, docking one off the cuff, whatever it is. Tuffy has just grabbed these pictures from the internet, Pete. So that is an NCO uniform with some form of ribbons, but that's just how she's envisioning us. So yeah. Hello, Hazy Boy. Hello, Gaz. Hello, Dan, and everybody else who joined the chat. Pandancer made a terrible mess of himself. He's had to go and mop himself down and cover himself in wet wipes, maybe smelling like lemons. So yeah, anybody who hasn't done any role-playing before, Discord's a great way to go. If you fancy having a look at 4 people doing it very badly,
Except for Tuffy. Tuffy does a good job.
Oh yeah. But she's not the one playing the game. It's the four of us doing it very badly. Monday nights, Martin streams it, and Tuffy will be updating this project,
trying to keep everybody on track.
Yeah. Watch as we fuck up in a majority of ways.
Especially
I don't know who's going to be playing next, actually.
Especially Lena, that is when she's going singing and waving, running towards shooting enemy lines.
There is a network error. That's not a very good sign.
Well, you're still with me.
Oh, that's all right then. It's just Twitch. Anyway, yeah. There's a phrase in the Nearside project, which is when you go mad enough, the world is your strawberry cling film. And I think with her son of...
I think she's at 8 now.
Is it 8? I knew it was down to single figures. I thought it was still 9.
No, I think
her son wasn't big to begin with, but her sanity is plummeting fast. And at some point, I may have to use her to block a doorway.
I think she started with this 16 or something, and
yeah,
and then she spotted everything.
She went down very quickly. These are words to live by. If you're playing Cthulhu, you have two options. Either you put everything into spot hidden. When you've got a large SAN, you spot the things first, you take the damage, but you get away without being killed. Or you never spot anything. Don't put anything into spot. Use your base 25. Be oblivious to the obvious, which is how I like to live. And when other people start screaming, just turn around and run the fuck the other way. Don't even look to see what made them scream. Just run. Now, World War Cthulhu has some interesting things where you have to level skills up based on your rank, position in the military, what you've done beforehand. So it tells you must do this now. You must add these points to spot. You must do this. You must add these points. And so Lena ended up in the unenvious position where she had fuck all sanity and then ended up with like a spot hidden of 65. So she walks into a building and like the things are gibbering in the corner. And it's like, ah! Whereas I walk into the building and she goes, ah! And I go, what? Who? What? I know nothing. See you fucks. And wander out. So, yeah.
So, this is what we were up to regularly.
Normal SAN Dutch would be 60.
Well, then I'm still
out of 100. That would be your average SAN.
Then I'm still above average with my 64.
Yeah. So 9 is terrible. Your top is 99. Your bottom is 1. When you hit 0, you're permanently insane and committed to an asylum. You're never getting out. The fact that she's now on 9 after only a couple of days just goes to show how fucked she is.
Yeah. Well, let's leave the madness behind.
Yes.
And jump into another madness. Bob's Fictional Countries. I think we were here before sometime.
We were. Well, we were in Bob's imagination.
Oh.
I don't know if it was the same as the fictional country.
Were we in his head?
Yeah, because this one, unlike previous, is Team Yankee, but not Team Yankee.
And he has done a write-up again like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, when it comes to imagination, young Bob, long form of Kate, is keen on it. So this isn't just a Team Yankee British force. This is the Mercian madness. And yeah, the timeline starts at 45 million years BC. So that's nice.
So he's calling his tanks, and I quote, ass stomper, an ache maker.
Can't argue with those. Well, I mean, you could, but you'd end up with a sore arse. Aching.
And thinking that those are 15mm miniatures, that's a heck of a handwriting.
Yeah. Hello, Stu.
Oh, Road Rage, and the other one is hidden behind Jerry for me. Oh, and it's not readable.
Sorry, I'm still looking at his thing. I'll
this
find
monstrous timeline.
Yeah, the timeline's terrific.
Hot stuff, baby cakes, lots of crap, Road Rage.
There you go. See, perfectly normal names that you would have. But it's just really nice to see because it's a force that could be used for Team Yankee. It's also a force that could probably be used for something like what's the
Flames of
sci-fi game? Star Grunts. You could run this in 15mm Star Grunts. Or I know he's a big fan of Hammer Slammers as well. But I just love the fact that he's gone, you know what, here's the entire history of this planet. Here's the mad dog shit we're going to get up to. And I'd go nuts from there. Bob always puts a lot of... But Bob's very much an old school player. There's no point where he's going, what is the best Team Yankee army list to field for the British? It's what is the fluffiest list with background I can write?
Which I very much like.
And that just is so much better.
Those games tend to be much more fun, even if they are very much unpredictable on who's going to win. But fuck, who's going to win? If you're having fun playing and losing, well, go for it.
I had that building. That ruined HO scale looking fucker with the green surround on the doors and windows. I can't remember who made it, but I had one.
If it's HO scale, it's probably by any rail company.
No, because, well, might be. The fact it's ruined makes it a bit unusual. Anyway,
think
I digress.
I scrolled past it. I need to
find
it.
Oh, fucking ages ago, mate. Oh, it's so far back I wouldn't worry.
But now I'm curious. Oh, and speaking of crazy things, I botched and I ordered snotlings.
Bull snotlings?
A complete team, yes.
Oh dear, that's terrible.
Yes, especially because I still only have one troll, and I need a second one.
You need two more. You need three. Knowing who's going to win before you start, that's an interesting one. And I'll just digress for a moment. I know this is normally what you do, Tim, to keep us to our half hour. But I'll digress on this one occasion. There are games I've played where we know who's going to win in advance. And it might be something like, not a Rourke's Drift, because I've been rebalancing and tweaking that fucker for a couple of years now to make it as close to 50-50 as I can. But there are games where you know your opponent's going to win, but it's the manner in which they win. And you can then slew victory conditions on either side. In the Team Yankee super list, though, I will agree, putting a force on the tabletop that's fluffy and then watching your opponent put down the equivalent of Soviet Su-155s that you can't beat, that's gash. And I hate that.
Well, there are things you can't...
I never have to worry about it, but
there are things you can't predict. It's like playing chess against a veteran player. You will always lose, no matter how much you try.
Well, there are ways. There are ways and means around that. There was I can't remember what it was. It might have been Darren Brown, the mind bender, that fellow who touches women when they're hypnotized. I imagine. I mean, I've got no proof, but why wouldn't he? He played like 20 grandmasters simultaneously, something like that. And what he did was he alternated between playing black and playing white. And so the first game...
So basically he didn't play anything, but the grandmasters were playing each other.
Exactly. So the first game he played black, and he watched the opening move for the white player. And then he just played. So he knew the first game was going to be a loss. But then the second game, he was playing the moves the first person made, and so on and so forth around, to counteract the fact he didn't know what the fuck he was doing, which is genius.
Well, but that's basically cheating.
Belly button fluff is amazeballs. But yeah, Bob is he's a cheeky fucker, to be brutally honest. Look, he's even got Greek in there. I can't read it, but apparently it's the Battle of Marmalade. So
also,
there you go. You can't really argue with that.
Almost forgot, Jerry. I told you we would have a special guest today.
Yes. Is it Big Ben?
No, though he's here too. But just take a close look at your screen, please.
Oh, Jesus.
Say hello.
Yeah. Hey! It's Foamy!
And Foamy says, Fuck off! Fuck you all.
Fuck you. Jesus.
Foamy, I love you.
Foamy's amazeballs.
And he's not getting any milder by the age.
No, he's not well, to be fair. Like most squirrels, we all get really fucked off as we get older.
He's just before the show there was a new Foamy video I had to take in.
Well, I haven't seen it yet. I was teaching Lena how to play World of Tanks.
You aim and you shoot.
You'd think that. Apparently it's trickier than you'd imagine.
Well, that's the way I play it.
That's how I play it. Foamy is a internet squirrel who, let's just say he's slightly more centre of the road than I am.
And he's not talking...
Look, there's a raid. You should say
Yes.
hello to the raid and do like a thing, like a meme or something. Is that what the raids do? I don't know. You kids.
Hello, Raiders.
Your MTV.
Oh.
Oh dear, I seem to have spotted a cunt.
Foamy just
Good day.
rants, you know. At
He's,
world.
he's taking current events and points the finger at all the stupid fucks that are around. And the creator does a live stream with a pumpkin head hand puppet,
Yeah.
assisted by an AI robot voice. And he
She's
paints
great.
nice pictures.
He does.
The current one is some kind of fitness lady trying to... being annoyed by the squirrels, which there are many of.
Spoilers. I haven't seen it yet. Tell them about one of the older ones. Hello, Ben.
Oh,
Repainting things.
the oldest one I can think of was the shaved big lady doing porn for rent.
Say, that's fine. Now you know exactly where I come from as a squirrely man.
Yeah, if you don't have seen it,
Oh,
it's
Dutch's linking one.
it's
Foamy the squirrel.
Ill Will Press. The name says it all. And Foamy has a Patreon, and he's really nice. Though, as I've seen, YouTube is currently giving him the short end of the stick because his content isn't family friendly.
Fuck that.
Well,
Doesn't need to be family friendly. Kids aren't supposed to be on fucking YouTube.
not below the age of 14 at least.
Exactly. They should went fuck off. Were you painting, Ben? Was Ben painting? Who's here from Ben's raid?
Ben
What
was
he doing?
painting.
Was it Nodder? Was it Badger? I don't know. He was
last
driving around a Polish tank shooting shit.
Last time I think he was actually painting Burrows and Badgers again.
Burrows and Badgers again. Madness. I
Again
put together,
without object source lighting.
Oh, what a cunt. if Hazy Boy's still about, I'm currently painting... I'm not actually painting anything. I'm currently building Conquest minis for an upcoming...
Headless
Tale-
children.
Yeah, upcoming Tale of Four Gamers.
Is it for
Conquest specifically?
not Saga then?
No, not Saga. Bodger and Badger is very good though as well. So yeah, Hazy Boy, if you keep an eye out, there will be Conquest to match your... What we need to do is catch your Conquest up as quickly as possible. That's the goal. So we didn't get a chance to do a Conquest bootcamp this year because some cunt unleashed coronavirus on the world. Now, I'm not saying it was definitely a Man United fan because Man United are big in China and they didn't want Liverpool to win the Premier League this year. But what I will say is they're mostly cunts, and I imagine it's something a Man United fan would do. So really, it's United fans is the reason we didn't get a Conquest bootcamp. So I'm doing Spires. Warren's doing 100 Kingdoms. John is going to be painting the Nords, and Justin is doing the Dwarves, or the Dweghome, as they sound like somebody with a lisp might pronounce them. And it'll be like a 6. I don't know how we're going to break it down. Possibly monthly, in which case it's going to be like 6 months.
It's astounding how you can get from one miniature system you're building over to footy and insulting people.
I'm not insulting people. I'm insulting Manchester United fans. They're not fucking people.
See?
I
See?
flushed I have flushed better down the toilet than Man United fans. Don't worry about them.
Okay.
Anywho, so yeah, so there will be a lot of stuff coming up about Conquest shortly, Hazy Boy. So hopefully there'll be some interesting stuff for you there. We've even had a chance to talk to one of the games designers, so there'll be videos coming and all sorts of shit.
Oh, you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, you did. I probably should have said, but, you know, fuck it. It's not like anybody pays attention to what I'm doing.
Next up is some weird puppet master.
Yeah, Irish Steve.
So is this a game or just painting for showing off?
This is painting for showing off. This is anybody who follows him on Twitch will know Genuine Vision.
Yes.
But this is his odds and sods project where he just goes, I fancy painting a squad of men. I fancy painting a bust. I fancy painting a character. You know, it's literally whatever shit he wants to paint that doesn't fit into any particular niche box category goes into this little thing. So
looking at this bust gives me nightmares.
Oh, I mean, that's stunning. I don't know, because I haven't bothered reading to see who it comes from. Chimera, apparently. But yeah, pain the arse to prep, apparently.
I wouldn't dare to try such a thing. That's slightly above my pay grade.
I'm starting to get more and more into busts. There's I want to say it's a Korean company called Nuts World who do some stunning busts. I've seen they've done a Lagatha from Vikings, although not Lagatha from Vikings because it's not official, but they do some beautiful busts. And after Ben started doing his bust the other week, which then encouraged me to dig out some of my busts and large scale figures, I'm starting to go, you know what, I should fucking probably paint some more of these, which brought me to Steve's blog, because I went, hang on a minute, I know a man who's been doing this shit for a little while, let's have a look at what he's been up to recently. And there's the mix of large scale figures along with gaming pieces, and it's just it's a delight, let's face it. He's a talented cunt.
These look quite nice. The knight, the whatever rogue, fighter, magic, and the mandatory religious lunatic.
Yeah. So potentially cleric, wizard, rogue,
paladin,
warrior, from Otherworld Miniatures, which could quite easily be a Frostgrave warband, and with the basing on them, I would be surprised if he's not running it as a Frostgrave warband. He even has some orcs for you, as if he knew you'd be here looking at him, staring at him while he sleeps, so you know.
No, I'm not staring at people while they sleep. That's boring.
No,
because usually they don't scream when they are
They do when they awake and their nose is pressed against yours. I don't even know what that orc machine is, because it doesn't.
That's from the bloody racing game they did.
Is it? Because I remember I played it and I dimly remember the models, but it looks, obviously the cockpit is one of the DACA jets, but I couldn't work out whether that was actually a racing piece from that, or if he got a DACA jet and then converted it.
No, I think that is actually the model, one of the models they did.
That's probably one of the ones that Justin used to avoid
Speed
playing
Freaks,
the game.
Yes, that was the name of the game.
Modded with new tracks. There is a way to find out, and if Steve was here, he could answer it, but he's a terrible bastard.
Well, let's be honest, anybody who's going to be featured here is either a terrible bastard, a wonderful person, or a total cunt.
Yeah, and wonderful people are few and far between. I'd go so far as to say non-existent.
Yeah, we started with our GM, and that's enough for one day. This stream can't take many good people. Would ruin our...
No, laughing boy, we weren't. Don't worry, we'll be talking about you later. But yeah, just the sheer volume, and I mean there are close-ups on the 28mm or 25mm, whatever the fuck they are, figures that he's painted for that warband. If you haven't seen Steve's work before, if you don't follow him on Twitch, you should definitely follow him in the project system. He streams an awful lot. He streams more than I look at streams because I'm not really one of these people who does that streamy thing so much.
And
if I've got free time, I'll either sit in a grill and drop shells on people or just masturbate. I can't devote it to other people.
He's one of the few streamers who are actually streaming at times that are viable for European content consumption.
So there you go. It's doable then.
Yeah,
it's a thingable.
The next up is some weird-looking lady with a dancing cup.
Beautiful ladies in emergency situations.
So Dandy is still on clearing his pile of shame.
Yeah, apparently so.
He is aware of the fact that when he's cleared this pile of shame, he's going to drop dead, is he? Yeah?
We're not entirely certain. Lorna is very close to it, so he's going to be the canary down the mine. If he finishes and then nobody hears from him again, we'll know not to fucking finish painting.
Or maybe he has hidden away some unfinished mini just as an insurance.
That would make sense. That would be clever. I'm not sure where this wench is from with the skull thing, but the rest of the stuff in here is a Kingdom Death monster, bits and pieces.
He doesn't say in the blog either. Just paints he used.
I mean, he's kicking around there, so he's ignoring all the stuff he bought in 2020. Makes sense. I would. Is she Kingdom Death or is she something else? Since you're there and you're talking to us,
I think it's Kingdom Death as well, because these cards we have seen before.
It's in the title from Aeon Trespass, right? Because I assumed that was her name. She was Aeon Trespass, the engine nymph. Greasy tart. She loves a bit of grease.
Lube it all up.
That's the model name. Okay. And is it a Kingdom Death or is it? No. So the range is Aeon Trespass. Are they just? I could Google it, but I can't be arsed. I've got so many links open, mate. And you're here, so why should I do the work? Is she for a game, or are they just a line of miniatures that are interesting to paint?
I feel like we have seen these cards, art cards before. Let me just give the internet a pass.
Tim is going to be my monkey as I grind the organ. He can look shit up.
Dance.
Well done, him. What retard distributed? Yeah, it's very much like that. Speaking of,
these are weird-looking miniatures.
You can see why I thought it was Kingdom Death. Speaking of Watery Bints, Studio Miniatures, who often get my ire for fucking with Northern Ireland as we don't exist.
These are the nymphs we've seen in another project. See, the lady on the right.
It's the same project, it's just further down. You just need to keep scrolling. But there's been... The reason she's in here is because new stuff. Yeah.
Where the model looks a bit different than the render, I have to say. The render looks a bit different.
It's got a squid and a diving helmet, that's all fine. Yeah, Studio Miniatures have released Bring Out Your Dead with his triangle. John Cleese carrying his dead father. He's not quite dead, he's getting better. I feel happy, so happy. Going for a run. Also, they brought out zombie versions of the guards from The Marriage, plus the French key niggets from the castle as zombies as well. So there's been like 4 new packs from Studio Miniatures.
In your general direction.
If you're into your 28mm Monty Python figures.
Your mother was a hamster, and you
smells of
elderberries.
You know that has a medieval connotation.
No.
So hamsters are prolific in reproduction. Every golden hamster in the world, in pet stores and in people's houses, every pet are descended from 2 hamsters that were taken out of the fucking Sahara, wherever they came from. So that pair bred like fuck, and that's where all of the pet golden hamsters came from. So whenever they went, your mother's a hamster, she's a fucking whore, and your father smells of elderberry, he's an alcoholic. It was the way they made wine. So those were both medieval insults.
Well, you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
But the best part is
Good times.
John Cleese going.
Anyway.
Explain to me our plan. Well, we get out of the rabbit. What?
Hang on a second.
You've got a piggy bank.
No, I've got a resin rabbit. Hang on, if I hold that there's one of the ears. Huh?
Oh god.
This is also available from Studio Miniatures for their Monty Python Knights of Knights of the Holy Grail range. They also do a wooden badger, which I don't own yet, but I will. Don't worry. Anyway, you've distracted us again. We were looking at his project.
Yes.
Sake.
And I think we only have 2 entries that we hadn't seen before because.
Yeah. The Leather Survivors plus Eon Flux, whatever the fuck her name was. But yeah, again, it's lovely work. This is the reason I didn't get into Kingdom Death, though, because I bought some pinups and stuff before he invented the game, but then he started doing this Kickstarter and it was like leather, fur, bone, different types of armor, and I'm looking at it and I couldn't work out what the fuck you needed for the game. I'm going, if I buy this, do I need to buy like 5 times the amount of figures so I can have the same figure, naked, fur, leather, bone, plate, meow, 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 meow. You know, I just looked at it and went, you know what, they're nice to paint. I'm not going to spend the money on your game because I quite frankly couldn't give a fuck what you're doing. It's so disassociated from everything.
Well, you can flood your own market if you want.
Yeah, you know. At some point I'll open the one that's in the studio and put together some of the miniatures. Just out of badness, because nobody else is going to put them together, let's face it. And if they do, they'll leave the mold lines on. Bastards.
Next one is Soap Dodgers Corvus Belly Infinity. This is a revisit, I think.
Yes. Is it? I don't know. I can't remember.
Let's go down a bit.
I hadn't given him points for his
I think it's
Adriana or his
a
Eugene.
long time ago.
Yeah, oh yeah.
This is all from 4 days ago.
Yeah,
so
he
this
had
is
a lot of this stuff sitting in the background that he hadn't uploaded. This is a great episode of the Jerrycan. We'll come to the Jerrycan later on, actually. 12 Squared Artist.
Uploading on OTT? That's a Jerrycan?
No, well, it won't be uploading today. It's the one that's coming up next week.
The topic on the Jerrycan will be uploading to OTT.
Yeah.
How to do your project proper.
Nah, it won't be that. But Lorna has a project we're going to be looking at, and he runs into issues, and weirdly it's one I've been working on for a couple of weeks.
How
and it was like,
many
oh, what a terrible shame.
Did he do?
He did a fuckload, but to be fair now, he's had a lot of these sitting around and he's not looked at them. So if you're right at the very bottom, I'll scroll down and meet you. Unfocused images are the best images, Dutch. Thank you.
This is amazeballs.
Yeah, he's a talented fuck. If it's any help, he's shorter than me and he has a lot less hair. So, you know, what he has in talent, he lacks in height and hirsuteness.
Well, surpassing you in height should be quite a feat.
It's not easy. We have one Dane and a French fella who lives in Cork. I think are the only 2 otters I've met who beat me so far. Weirdly, I met the French guy at the Infinity Boot Camp many moons ago. And yes, Rasmus is the Dane. That is the noodle eating limited edition fella. He was a running joke for years. Joanne. And then somebody went, you should do them. And so they released them in this little noodle box as limited edition. And there's 2, and they're both scoffing. So there's that one scoffing noodles that he's painted, and then there's this one who's falling out of the air on his jetpack. He's too fat to fly, which is funny because it amuses me because there was a whole too fat to fly thing.
So this the other one then.
Yeah. They even came with a low pans menu as well. So they're nice. I mean, at some point I'll paint them. fucking won't paint these. Don't worry. None of these are getting painted.
This is something I can really get behind when a company doesn't take itself too seriously and is brave enough to do a one-off just for shits and giggles.
5.5 inches. I don't know what I am precisely in inches because it's a terrible system for measuring, but I'm 2 mil shy of 195 centimeters. So I'm 194.8 centimeters, which is much more precise and better way of measuring. Metric is just better. Imperial is shit.
It's almost as if there was some evil force preventing people from correctly assessing what is.
Yeah, it's terrible. Is it David Lopan? I assume that's why they've taken Lopan as the name, going for the full Big Trouble in Little China nickname. But we're getting distracted again by your incessant chat about pointless topics. This Soap Dodger is a infinity whore, as we all know, and it's not just that he does really nice miniatures, because he also 3D prints and laser cuts his own buildings as well. I mean, his infinity stuff must be fucking gorgeous. If anybody is in Scotland and can get to his house and steal his shit,
there's money to be made. Oh look, Predator. At least something like it.
Something like it. It's one of the Shavasti combined army aliens from beyond. Because they're going to be coming very close to releasing what was the Infinity board game we played, Defiance, on the ship. It can't be far away from release, and I would be tempted to pick that up. I would have been tempted to back in the Kickstarter, but I wasn't working at the time and couldn't afford to throw money at things. Last year was a terrible year for me when I couldn't afford to throw money at so much. So yeah, hey ho. But yeah, Soap Dodger, he doesn't even stick to one faction. It's just like, I'm going to do all the factions and they're all going to be really nice. And I'm going to even fucking 3D sculpt and print my own bases to match the maps that I'm playing on. He's just a fucker.
You could say he's got almost anal...
oh yeah,
fixation
he's almost certainly anal.
On precision.
I mean, the game isn't impossible to play, but it is a game that if it's not your main game, it needs to be a game you're playing all the time, because the rules are very granular and there's a lot going on that requires you to know what you can and can't do all the time. I think Code 1, where they're going to play with less miniatures and stripped down rules, will be very helpful for people. I mean, I know I don't play Infinity as much as I want to, or as much as I plan to when I start getting into it, which means anytime we start playing a game, there's a lot of time spent book flipping, which I think is the crux of the matter. If it's not your core game and you're not playing it every week, half of your game is spent flicking through the rules to see what you can and can't do, and that slows things down and makes it feel cumbersome. I think if you're playing it all the time and you're just being able to go, well, I'm going to do this, and this, I need 9 or I need 18 to hit, whatever, and you just get used to it. So I think that step lower that they've chose to, the rules that have just been cut out, and here's your little starter set, and if you just want to play this, you can play this. You're not going to get the full experience, because I don't think every miniature they've ever made is going to get Code 1 rules, but I do think it will be easier to step in there. There's Soap Dodger, tell me I'm a cunt again. But yeah, it's just, I think Infinity is a great game, and I think the miniatures are just fucking stunning. I have another friend, he's Norwegian, but don't hold that against him, Kim. He's just started painting the Operation Karlstrom box up. He's taken the Yu Ching, and his friend's taking the Pano, but he's painting both sets. He's doing it on YouTube and Twitch and that sort of shit. And it's been nice watching him just essentially getting into it for the first time, just to see how it's going to go.
Have we shown these to Robert? This is how you paint on.
No, we haven't. But fuck, we really should. Anybody
Look
who
at
feels
this.
like anybody who feels like commenting on that particular blog entry with @RobertNI and just
No,
go,
just
here's
Robert.
how,
On the
here's
forums,
how,
it's
oh,
just
that's
Robert.
right. Oh, yeah, it's just Robert. He's got a dog face picture. You'll spot him easily. Yeah, just to add insult to injury. I've been looking at them for a little while. I've got the contrast equivalent from Scale coming in October, and I'm toying with just building up all of the stuff I have, which is only really Nomads, Yu Ching, Adriana, because I got rid of the rest. So I just have 3 factions in case me and my 2 friends want to play, and just do Zenith highlights and then use the new Scale contrasts to see what I can get done easily, but still having that Infinity feel.
Yeah, and just as you said, the rules need to be something you can take to yourself on a regular short notice, so that you don't have to flip pages like a madman. That's always that. I think that was one of the main reasons why I jumped boat from 40k, because it just I couldn't keep up.
I was trying to explain to somebody why they use 20 instead of 6-sided dice, and they couldn't get their head around it, because I was explaining that if you have any modifier is plus or minus 3, which is almost, it's not quite, but it's almost the same as plus or minus 1 on a d6. And they were going, well, why not just use a d6? Well, if you've got a skill of 4 and then you're rolling and adding a d6 and then you minus 1 off that, and you can go, that's predictable, that's a similar percentage. But if you've got a d20 and you've got a skill of 10, your modifiers are still plus or minus 3, but you can adjust the skill by 9, 8, or 7 before it changes. So you've got more layers within it. And I think a lot of people get put off by the fact that it's a d20 with these plus 3, minus 3 modifiers on it. So statistically,
isn't anyone's.
No. But they look at it and they go, well, why is it like this? And you go, well, it allows more lines of definition. But I mean, the miniatures they do are fucking stonking. Myself, Tony, and Dougie, the other 2 guys who would theoretically play Infinity with me, I have the 3 forces so they don't have to. And we were very simple when I came to do it. It was just like, okay, everybody gets a tag, even though Adriana shouldn't get a tag. Let's get the fucking mercenary tag. Okay, now everybody gets a motorbike. And then I just bought a motorbike for everybody, and I just went that way because it just looks too cool not to. And then I spent £400 on terrain Kickstarters from Antonosity's workshop and Polish ones. Here are the Polish ones. Do Volsung. Where's my Volsung box? It's over here. That will tell me who does Volsung.
And it's
MicroArt Studios.
MicroArt Studios, yes.
So then I bought a fuckload of terrain for it, and it was just like, we can just go nuts. But yeah, it's a stunning set of miniatures from Soap Dodger. Although again, he has less hair and he is shorter, so that's important.
This figure in this pose reminds me of something. Some Half-Life dude with a crowbar.
Oh, it's because he's got the red
yellow,
and then the yellow on the armor. You know what? I don't know if that's what they were aiming for, because I can't imagine that's what they were aiming for.
No, and it's just this angle on the.
But yes,
the other angles, he doesn't look as much like it. But from this angle, this really is Half-Life.
Right. Soap's in the chat. He might know, because I don't spend enough time on their forums. They do an awful lot of figures like Jimbo and like Matthew McConaughey from Reign of Fire and shit like that. So it's entirely possible he is based on whatever the fuck is Carl Grant, whatever the fuck he was called. I can't remember. Who knows?
MicroArt do a lot of lovely things, not only bases but Imperial bunkers.
Weirdly, I've seen their bases for Conquest, but since this isn't my army, this is a studio army, I'm not paying extra to do resin bases for them. They get the bases they came with.
And they do Orc General heads.
Yeah.
And witches.
So the unfortunate news is the that's pushed Soap Dodger well beyond 666 in his recommendations.
Oh,
So
no.
if 23 recommendations want to come off that to get him back down, then go nuts, folks, go nuts. But yeah, Soap, that's
we now
it's not good.
Must venture forth.
Is there another sculpt for Half-Life? Is it? What the fuck's that fucker's name? I want to say it's Graham or Grant or something.
No.
Half-Life.
It's not Alex. That's the VR sequel. Gordon Freeman, yes.
Gordon
Tuffy, thank
Freeman.
you.
Ah, there you go. See, it was G. I knew there was a G in there. I just couldn't fucking work
Gordon
out how.
Freeman.
Anyway.
The only thing he's lacking is the glasses.
Well, they can be put on. By
Next
some clever
up,
fucker.
we have
Doug, the Andor Fug.
doing Irish.
Doing Irish for Saggy, say? Really?
I
How
think.
surprising.
Oh,
He
and he
is
has
using-
blood on the base. Oh, I already love this.
He bought a box of Dark Age Irish from Wargames Atlantic, which is a fucking phenomenal box for people getting into Saga. Doing Dark Age Irish, it's great. For people getting into Saga, you can get 4 points out of that box easily. And this is interesting because he's gone with the shiniest shields and the biggest shields, and they look great. And then he's hand painted, and pardon me, I've got the fucking hiccups. He's hand painted a lot of unique design onto the larger shields himself. Sorry about that. Hiccups are the worst. Anyway, so Doug's done 1 point. Now, I was talking to him. He hasn't got his book handy and wasn't certain what things should be on there. And I pointed out you should really be throwing javelins on these fuckers. So I think the next point is going to get a lot more javelin-y type spear things.
This sounds so ridiculous. 4-point army, and then you've. When we just came from 40k with the thousands of points.
Oh, yeah. I'm playing 2,000 points / I'm playing 2 points. It's just one of those things. I mean, GW have kind of done it with their power where they've dropped them. But I do like the Dark Ages they've put together. There's one for Andy, God rest him. He was obviously using his inspiration. But it's nice because he's got a variety of checks, plaids, and hand-painted stuff, but he's kept a similar colour palette for the whole unit, where he's gone with sort of brown, red, yellow, and green, and just repeated those throughout. It's the hand painting on the shields, though, is what I absolutely adore from this set. I think we talked about it with the bronze shield, that pitted pattern a few weeks ago when he was just starting and just did the first one. But it's the other shields he's gone in and gone, you know what, I'm going to fucking go nuts.
He obviously left the land of the sane and entered the unholy territories of doing tiny fighting man details by hand and going even slightly more mental.
Oh yeah, just go nuts. And the fact he's got the standard top and stuck it onto a spear and made that into a druid, which then becomes a 1-point hero that he can chuck into his Irish. So he could. I was working on the principle you can easily get a 4-point warband out of that set. You could potentially push it higher, although I don't know if it would be as viable to play. But it'll be interesting to see where else he got. I've told him what I think he should build out of the rest of the box. He doesn't have to build it that way. I will be curious to see what he does. He hasn't painted any of me with the dark hair and the grey and the beard yet. There is a head in that box set that looks like they fucking sculpted it off me. I haven't asked Hudson yet where he got the idea for that bearded fuck from, with the central parting and then the wavy hair, but you know.
Well, even if he had caught inspiring by you, he couldn't tell you, because then you would be eligible for compensation of sorts.
Oh no, I don't think it works that way. He's in the States. I don't think I can get any compensation.
Especially,
well, to be fair, I got compensation
States.
off him because he sent me boxes to unbox and look at. So you know, they're my boxes now. Fuck it, I count that compensation enough. I'll have some tiny fighting men, thank you. Then I bought 2 boxes of my own because I want to run Clontarf next year using Epic Saga rules. But yeah,
don't mention Epic. I was tempted by the thought of doing. I was theorizing on, could you do a skirmisher game with 3 to 6 mil miniatures?
Oh yeah.
I mean, what size would the gaming mat be? This 20 by 20 centimeters?
I don't know if I've told this story before on the Hobby Hangout or possibly on an XLBS. One year we went to Games Day. We used to run a bus every year from Belfast, and it would go Belfast up to Larne, then go to Stranraer in Scotland, and then drive down to Birmingham for Games Day / Golden Demon. But it meant you left on the Saturday about 7 o'clock in the evening, and then you arrived in Birmingham around 12 o'clock, and then would stand outside for a couple of hours before the place opened up. So you were there, you were pretty much traveling all night. We got a set of epic 6mm figures, glued them to drawing pins, thumbtacks.
Yeah, you told that story. I remember now.
So used a 30 centimeter board, essentially a ceiling tile that you just push them into. So you can quite happily play in 6mm without any issues, and just reduce everything down to centimeter movements or less.
That would be an insane project.
It was so much fun because you just sat there in the back of the bus, bouncing along on the road with all your figures punched into the the tile. I had a really nice ram skull.
Today we would use magnets. Yes.
Oh, fuck magnets.
Well, it would make storage a lot easier then.
We just left it there, I think.
Let's ramble on. We have Mini Laughing Boy.
Mini Laughing Boy, Laughing Boy but smaller. We
visited this, or is this the wrong way around?
No, I've put it oldest to newest because I knew we'd visited, but I can't remember how far we'd got.
Only the first 2 days.
That's okay then.
So here he is in a near complete state of army soldiers.
So Martin has been beating his child with a bag of satsumas so it doesn't leave a bruise to get him into the hobby.
Don't make fun of those things.
I'm not making fun. I mean, I would never make fun of child abuse. I'm just saying that's what he does.
But he does glorious Jerry shots.
Yeah. He's not showing the dog. You all know the dog's been painted. The paints are the important thing. Well, how would I paint that dog? These are the paints. Why do you... Oh, my God. Huh?
Yes, we're the worst.
Anyway. So, yeah, Mini Laughing Boy has been starting to paint Right Busters, which I'm fairly certain Laughing Boy Senior bought and then went, I'm not painting this. Beat my child into doing it. I had a girlfriend I used to get to paint my stuff. She left me. Bitch. Anyway. So, yeah. We have been looking at this. We may just have got the first few days. He's been cracking away. I would say he hasn't updated in a while. Now, I know technically he's back to school.
I know that he has been painting on stream with his dad for the past days, but I can't tell what he has been painting to save my life.
Yeah. But I think that the thing is, we're all following it. We all want to see what he's doing next. Give him a little nudge and go, we're all waiting for the update because it's been 2 weeks.
Let's say, almost 3.
Almost 3 weeks.
5th of August was the last time he updated.
Wouldn't it be good to see a bit of an update? Maybe he's getting bored painting nothing, but are you painting the heroes and making him paint all the shit? Is that why? He's just getting fucking bogged down in the dross, Martin. Let the boy paint a hero up. Give him a break from just fucking batch painting.
Oh yes, playing Dracula in America, but they were also painting. Panzerquart's wife wants to paint Nighthorns for what is SOA?
Enjoy the rest of your day. 144. We look forward to seeing what comes next.
What is SOA? It's not Sigma of Age, is it? So it is Sigma of Age. Yeah, okay. So, yes.
Submariner, I lost them again, Soap Dodger. I don't know where I put them after finding them to paint them with the submarine. I've put them somewhere safe again. It's not funny.
Oh, we don't talk about the war here.
I need to put fucking bells on them.
You might want to get some of Warren's Bluetooth thingamajig
where I
bleepy
can
things.
whistle or clap, and then my submariners will appear.
That was actually funny. When the submarine is on the table and you start clapping and everything goes beep, beep. Dive.
The alternative is, we just play things like, play the theme tune from Das Boot.
One of the few good German movies that has, as least as I'm concerned.
Oh, it was excellent.
Yes. Next up, Firelock 22 does A Tale of Two Gamers board action. This was
Firelock / his mate.
I think I was just about to say this was the project where he forced his mate to choose a game, and he chose weirdly.
Yes. He didn't choose weirdly. He chose bold action, which isn't, in the grand scheme of things, I know you can sometimes go onto websites and go onto the internet and go, I'm planning on starting bold action, and then just have a bunch of cunts go, why are you playing bolt action? You should be playing Chain of Command. Bolt action's a shit game. But it's not a bad game to introduce people to. And in this case, he's decided to do the Germans. His friend, who hasn't painted or built anything before, is going to do the US. We initially seen
only his, but
just his Germans.
Here are some GIs. And if this is the work of somebody who hasn't painted anything before, it's not too shabby. This
is indeed, yeah. We'll see this when we scroll down a bit further. I probably should have spun this one round, but there were a few entries in here where we've got a mixture of new Germans that Firelock's working on, but also some of the stuff his friend's painting. Now, he's played 6mm. I don't know if he painted any of the 6mm stuff they played. So this may be his first painted 28mm, or maybe his first painted miniatures. But yeah, he's doing US Airborne. So he's going a bit Band of Brothers, and they do the job rightly. I think he's using contrast, which is helping. Which I think again is another prime example of a technique or a material that you don't need to be. You don't need to be dedicated to painting to get a decent looking force on the tabletop. Especially
not if you're considering the distance you have whilst playing.
Yeah.
This is the thing I always remind myself when I'm getting too anal about details on my miniatures. If I paint anything for gaming, this is going to be at arm's length at best. You won't be looking at it.
Yeah.
So look at the context, get a nice table.
If you look at that picture there, that's a prime example. That's probably about the size you would look at if you were playing a game on a 4x4.
Judging by my perspective on my screen here, this is even a bit too large.
Yeah.
This is like going on your knees and looking right across the table.
I'm in a Facebook group about solo wargaming, and somebody asked the other day for information about just getting into solo wargaming. What do you think about bold action? Or I'm playing bold action solo. What advice do you have for me? And the amount of you should just fuck bold action. The first thing you should do is find a real game, and it just fucked me off so much because I have very.
Don't you just love people that are not answering
views.
The questions?
Yeah, I have very extreme views on what games I think are good and what games I think are shit. But at no point would I tell somebody who's going, I'm starting to play X, what advice do you have? Would I go, fuck your X? Age of Sigmar is a prime example. I couldn't give a shit about it. I don't think it's a great game compared to Warhammer. But it has its place, and a lot of people like it. And I've seen people going, I'm just starting to get Age of Sigmar, and at no point have I ever gone, you should go onto eBay and buy 5th edition Warhammer. Because Age of Sigmar is shit. Because it might not be shit to them. It's not the massed battle game that I played, and it's not a replacement for it, which is why I don't like it. But I'm not going to poo-poo what they're playing.
And it's just like telling somebody he's doing the hobby wrong. You can't do your hobby wrong if you're enjoying it. No. If you're just wanting to build stuff and then leave it unpainted in a box, well, fuck do it.
Yeah, and as far as getting into Age of Sigmar, what advice do you have? Cheeky wink, Dutch. I would say for Age of Sigmar, grab the miniatures you like. And I know you're not. I know you're not actually asking for the advice, but Age of Sigmar was written specifically that you didn't need to build to a specific army. You could literally grab the miniatures you like, and there are not many games you can say that for. I mean, even Bolt Action, you can't go, "What miniatures do you like?" Fucking grab them and play, because there's still a certain amount of composition. Age of Sigmar is remarkably freeing when it comes to actually playing the game, because you can just go, I just fancy knocking this, and this out. It's like Oathmark in that respect. Oathmark, you don't even need to pick an army. You can go, I'm going to play Oathmark. I want to have these human knights, these elven archers, those dwarf axemen, and some goblin chaff to throw in front of them all to take the hits. And you can do that. So, it's one of those. However, you're distracting us from talking about the miniatures.
Oh, look, a squirrel.
Squirrel. Foamy.
Indomitus. Oh, yeah, I actually have a squirrel. Fuck you.
Gobbles and spiders would be great, Dutch.
Did they get rid of spiders and gobbles in Age of Sigmar?
No, they've made goblins who are spiders in Age of Sigmar.
Oh.
On the plus side, Wargames Atlantic are about to release a box of spiders that the goblins will fit on, so you can have them as goblin spider riders.
Web only, Dutch. Either you're as terrible at puns as I am, or it's just something that Games Workshop is doing again. Or both. So, Benny Dim does what he does. Indomitus Space Marine, trying not to ruin them.
Yes, so we had seen a Dark Angel.
Who's going to tell him you can't ruin things that are already ruined? No. No.
I'll go one step further. You can't ruin a model that's your own.
Yeah, it's
because it's your own model. Whatever you do is sufficient. If you want to
stick it in your bum and be happy about it, do it. Just don't complain if your ass starts bleeding.
But again...
Also, kids, don't do this at home.
Yeah. So, again, this is another person who doesn't do much painting and has just decided to start painting for himself. He's getting some advice from a friend who can paint. And once again, if you click on the miniature... now, I think we looked at the Dark Angel one prior.
Yes, we were...
in the dark green. Yeah. So
I think we were at a point where we said, yes, he's using contrast paints, and contrast paints maybe aren't the best choice for these flat surfaces on the Space Marines, because at times it's a bit spotty.
It's patchy as fuck. Yeah. But he's done this. He's done a squad in Dark Angels, and they do the job more or less. It gives him something to build on. The presumably veteran then that he's done in contrasts using the bony color. There's a lot more going on there, and I think that's getting a lot better, because you've got that bone definition that the contrast works much better than the green. That green is turd. It's and again, I'm going to throw this out there. That's Games Workshop going, one coat will do it, and then just people who don't know how to use them because they're new or haven't painted much before are just going by GW's fucking lies that throw one brush stroke over it and it's fucking magical, whereas possibly they should have diluted that green and done 2 coats and he would have got a better result. But that's GW's fault, and unfortunately I'm not allowed to murder them all.
I think
for reasons.
The problem is the inconsistency in the range of contrast in itself, because you have paints you can slap on and they look fine,
yeah.
And you have paints you slap on in one coat and they just look god awful.
Yeah, so the bone and the red look great.
Yeah, and the leather tone is
leather's not bad, a bit heavy but not bad. The blue around the sword, there's a nice side on where you see not that one.
This one?
That one. So you see the side on there. You get quite a nice lightning effect there for the power sword, and I like the fact that you started it from there's like a wire and then a nodule, as if that's where it's generated from. So the bottom part of the hilt, you don't get it, and it works forward from the blade. I like all of that. It just needs work. But he's experimenting, he's trying, he's getting colour down. I'm all for this.
If it's not a masterpiece, it's practice at least. And just look at people turning up at tournaments with no paint on.
Yeah.
You're always ahead of those. Always. If you play with someone who knows the rules inside out and has no paint on his middies whatsoever, you're still having the better painted army. Bless you.
Sneeze. Thank you.
Oh, damn it. Again, I lost my opportunity to say Gesundheit. He might...
It's contrast. It's a tool more than anything else.
He might try to fix errors like these eyes. Because this is something I really had problems with at the beginning and struggled to understand and to get into my head. Yeah. Yes, you can be imperfect by applying at small areas, because the more raised areas can be fixed later with the same bloody color you always had them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People paint in different manners. I was always taught you paint in the same way you get dressed. So
that's why I can't remember anything, because I get out of bed and suddenly I'm dressed.
You paint from the inside out. So you're naked, paint the skin first. Then paint the clothes, because that would be the next layer on, which means if you've gone over from the skin tone onto the clothes, you can touch up. And then you paint the armor, because the armor's on top of the clothes, which means you don't have to worry about the clothes underneath when you're painting them. You can splatter around and paint up the arms and paint over chainmail and shield. You work that way out, and that's how I've always painted, and it works for me. Other people don't. They have a different technique, and it depends how you learn it and what way you choose to... What style works for you, not what style you choose. What style works for you is the best way to do it. So I would have painted the eyes first, knowing that I could touch those up. But with contrasts, that doesn't work, because you're always working off a base coat. So if he painted the eyes, he would then have to go back, re-base coat the entire miniature, or at least the points he's gone over, and then paint the bone on. But because contrast drops to the lower levels, it would probably dull the eyes down again. So contrast is a difficult one. It doesn't let... It's an easier way to get shade and highlight. It's not an easier method of painting overall, because touch-ups are harder, because you've got to re-base coat and then paint the contrast on.
It's not made for details.
No.
I'd say it's made for a general purpose use, and the sequence in which some people paint also is very much influenced by the model itself. If you've got a fairly freestanding humanoid figure, it's not that bad. If you come to think of these old Space Marines from way back when, with this bolter clenched in fist and right in front of him, of course you're painting all the things behind that first.
Oh yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to ruin your paint job on the bolter.
Yeah.
There is no right way to do your hobby.
It's what works for you, and I think contrast throws that into stark relief, because the way that works for me wouldn't work with contrasts, is what I was trying to say in a roundabout way. Simply because of how the contrast is applied and how it's supposed to work. But he's getting there. So he hasn't got... And I mean, everybody's giving him thumbs up, which thank you very much for giving him thumbs up, you lovely bastards. But let me just see, no comments. No comments. Now, I will say, I've also been on his thing, thumbing him up. I will be commenting later on. But considering how new he is, seeing a lot of comments would possibly be slightly better than just seeing a lot of ticks up for what he's doing. Just getting in there and going, I think you should do this, or this might work, or have you seen this guy? Have you seen Juan Hidalgo Heraldez on YouTube painting Marines using contrasts?
The extensive video Duncan did on contrast colors after he left GW?
Have you seen Mini Maniac tasting them all? That sort of thing. So
he did
I'm not saying you definitely have to comment, but for somebody like this who is so shiny and new that he hasn't got disappointed and bitter yet, maybe a few comments in there probably wouldn't go amiss. I'll be checking later, and I'll kick anybody out of the site who hasn't. I won't really, but
Well, then let's get on to another project.
Yes, this one I picked specifically for you.
To insult me, yes?
Oh, not to insult you. But what I did say was, oh my god, look at those miniatures.
Yes. No, I won't.
Having just picked up Hero Quest, did you know that Lichmere had a lot of miniatures sculpted by Boris for Hero Quest 2.0? Not officially Hero Quest, you understand.
Not by name, but by intention.
Yeah.
No, I did not. Oh, God.
Oh, you haven't seen these?
No!
Oh, yeah, aggressively encourage them. Crazy, yeah. That's the way to go. So Boris did this. This was a Kickstarter last year. And again, I didn't have a job, so I couldn't.
I think I glanced the Kickstarter and I saw the Barbarian, and then I closed my eyes and looked the other way.
Yeah, so they're not officially Hero Quest, but what they did was they went to Boris, and if you don't know who Boris Unpronounceable is
Brother V?
A Polish fella in South America, I think Brazil, might be Argentina. Anyway, he sculpts for Eladin, Westphalia, all sorts of companies. These terrible bastards.
For the Sculpt God. He's insanely good.
Oh, he is so fucking good. It hurts me. And they went, if we could do a modern version of Hero Quest, which they called the Lichmere Dungeon, would you do it? So they then got him to sculpt orcs, chaos warriors, mummies, skeletons, gargoyles, the heroes, and every one of them is a fucking thing of beauty.
Oh, Jerry, I hate you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I imagine you would hate me, yeah. Yeah, this is why I specifically went looking for this one, because I knew he'd been painting these, because I've been watching him on FacePage and shit, and I knew he had put them somewhere in our forum, so I went hooking for them. They even did the chests, and they did like a mimic chest as well, which has nothing to do with fucking Hero Quest, but just is so much fun. Now, yeah, that is an upgrade to Hero Quest. That is fucking amazeballs. They did, when they were doing the miniatures for the heroes, do you remember the front cover of
the box,
the Hero Quest box, where they're coming down the steps? He based the poses.
I think I saw Boris' Facebook page with those early versions.
You should never follow his Facebook page.
No.
Never do that. That's a fucking rookie mistake. He has been sculpting like a bastard for Westphalia recently.
Did I tell you, since the beginning of all this COVID nonsense, I'm not on Facebook anymore?
Oh, that's probably for the best. So he's been sculpting like a motherfucker, and Cave has been telling me that what they've been doing is sculpting and filling their catalogue, and then starting to fill up and get all the sculpts that Boris and other people have been doing for him cast, so that then when they launch the site properly, that they'll have this whole range of stuff. So I think in September there's going to be a big announcement. There's Halfling Pirates coming, which I don't know who's done those, and also there may or may not be dwarves with rocket packs like the Rocketeer in Zeppelins and shit coming as well. It's fucking amazing. I think Cave's doing them himself, because the cheeky fucker's actually a sculptor as well.
I think if GW would now decide to re-release Hero Quest, and somebody would put these miniatures next to GW's current way of doing minis, GW has no way of winning any comparison.
No, they really don't.
This is,
let me see if I can find these.
Do I want to follow this project?
No, you probably don't, but everybody else should be.
I'm going to die.
Bear with me 1 second.
Please hold the lion.
Well, you can scroll on and have a look at things and bask in Brushstrokes glory there.
No, I think I won't. Otherwise, my My wallet is going to start to itch. And as I have mentioned today on the forums, if you actually make the addition to data of companies where anything is getting sold in other parts of the world, I'm hoping not to see anything related to Westphalia. Shipping and import taxes is the only thing that keeps me from buying the complete program.
Yeah, no, you definitely don't want to look at that. That would be terrible.
It would be horrible. No, I wouldn't die happy crazy. My wife would beat me to death with anything that would bear the mark of Westphalia. Good
news, everyone. I've remembered who he was sculpting them for. Shh. So I'm just checking to see whether or not they're on the website. Otherwise, I'll keep it for a future week.
Well, next week, I'm going to say this now, we are going to have a special edition of the Unofficial Hobby Hangout.
Ooh. How unofficial of us. And but hobby-like.
The weirdest part is that when Warren said, well, since Jerry is here, it's not that unofficial, but Jerry's on his off time here, so this makes it unofficial in my book.
Yeah, that's how I imagine it goes. Also, I'm not allowed to call people cants. Guys, you're cant. See, I wouldn't be allowed to do that if this was official.
And if I wasn't so happy with the title of UHH, I would really consider renaming it the Tim and Jerry Show. If I could find someone doing a nice jingle intro.
They fight and bite, fight and bite, bite, fight.
You cunts.
Tim and Jerry Show.
Timber.
They're currently not on the website.
Oh, shame.
What I will do is, when they get to their website, I will tell you they're on their website.
And then I will make the next plane to Ireland, and I will find you and hunt you down.
No, there's no. Oh my God, that's amazing. Oh, I need to own that. That's not for you though.
While Jerry is distracted, we are venturing on to the next project.
Yeah, that's probably for the best. Anyway, don't worry, you can't currently buy them. You will be able to buy them
at some point in time.
When you can't buy them, I will tell you can buy them. How about that? You can't say
so you will tell me by showing them off on camera.
Yeah.
Wink, nudge, nudge. See this? You want to buy this?
Let's face it, I will have done it. It's only a matter of time.
So we have here
Romans, they go to the house. Curious is doing some Romano-British / late Romans for Dux Britannium by Two Fat Lordies, or Saga, because they work for Saga, or dozens of other games, to be brutally honest. Anything that's, late Romans.
Those look like pointy spears.
They are pointy spears. They are not dissimilar. In fact, I would go so far as to say they are the spears that come with those Fitzo miniatures if you buy them, because I have those Fitzo miniatures and their spears.
So those can't be exported to the US because those are dangerous weapons.
Dangerous weapons.
Of mass confusion.
But yeah, these are some of Bill Thornhill's sculpts before he went off to become a photographer. Which is a bit of a shame. I don't think Bill's sculpting anymore. I think he's literally just went, might do some in the future, but these days I'm just about taking pictures of sunsets on mountains.
These paint jobs are stunning clean.
Oh, they're beautiful.
I'm hoping the shields are not free-handed but transfers.
No, they are transfers. You're correct. But he does go through and gives a very good description of what he's doing for the group, what you need to put together for Dux Britannium if you want to play Dux Britannium,
look
and
at
also
these cute little shields.
Yeah, that's Little Big Man Studios. They are a thing of beauty. Oh, Mr. Holland, sir, you're a terrible bastard.
I'm not going to look at that. I'm not going to look at that. I'm going to look at that. Yeah, I've seen that, of course, in the IG-88 remake.
Yep, and Cara Dune, the Republic Drop Trooper as well.
Yeah, he did some really... I like this paint job, actually. With the...
I don't know how. Oh, with the red mask?
Yeah, it's... No, we're not going to...
You may get one, don't worry.
You evil person!
Terrible bastard. But yeah, the grips are nice. Paint job's nice. The shields really set them off, which goes to show you don't have to go fucking buck nuts.
No,
you can
only
do
have to
good
invest a few bucks.
And then, I mean, the Little Big Man Studios shields, it's like £3, £3.50 for 12 generally. So
that's enough for a box.
You know, it's enough for multiple packs. All you need to do is do the base work competently, and then the shields really set them off.
Yeah, this is and really not much in the regards of how progress he did on painting, but the end results are very nice, and he's doing a nice job in describing what he has done.
Yeah, you don't get the full here's 15 pictures every step of the way, but they do get these are the colors I'm using, and here's how I've done it. And I mean, you know, if you can pick up things like Painting Wars Holy War series, which I don't own.
You know what?
I do. No, don't worry, folks. We thought I might not own something for a moment, but I do own Holy War. So Holy War is that. Painting War, I will say these are very good. They are theoretically a magazine, but they're a pricey magazine. They work on this principle where it's a
monthly?
It's not a monthly, it's not even a bi-monthly, and they're not even in order. So like the first one they did was German, and then like the second one they did was Napoleonic French, and then like the third one was American Civil War Union troops. So there's no rhyme or reason as to how they're putting out, and they don't always use the same painter. So I mean, I think Heresy Brush, Ruben Tordega, did the Germans for the first. This one is Carlos Javier Caston Catalan. Fuck, that's a hell of a name. The other ones I have are different people. So they grab different painters, but they are, if you're into a particular period, they're very good because you get I'm just actually going to flick to the middle and find the chart. Here we go. Here's the chart. So the chart here is a bit wacky, so you have to bear with me.
Holy fuck.
So obviously now they've gone for a Muslim caliphate style to it with the, you know, geometric patterns. But what this does is you go, I need to paint dark skin, and you've got a choice at the top where it goes light skin, dark skin, black skin, page 17, page 56, and you go to page 56 and it will go these colors, or I want to paint this fabric, or I want to paint that horse. So the Painting War books are great. The translation from Spanish is a little bit Google. So you will, and I'm not saying this negatively, you will, if you're a native English speaker, you might read something and go, that line reads badly.
So it's not like not as worse as the Chinese translations on any household items is.
It's not Japlish per se, but it's not a million miles away. You'll occasionally hit something that jars if you're a native English speaker. If you're not, you may not even notice. So
if it's good
say,
for the occasional chuckle, I'm all for it.
Yeah, but I will say any of the Painting War books, and they're up to like, fuck, I don't even know what they're up to now. They're up to like 17. There's a load of these Napoleonics, Dark Ages, World War II, American Civil War, Ancients. If you have an inkling to start painting a specific period, they are fantastic because they will give you an idea of painting flesh, skin, armor, The German one, for example, has all of the branches of the military, their piping, depending on who they were, plus the markings for their units and rank.
So is that the World War II
like
Germans or?
Yeah, World War II Germans. So there's like a double-page spread where it goes Luftwaffe if they were this, and it's broken down based on essentially private, lance corporal. You know, so from lowest rank to highest, most senior rank, and it shows you them all. So you can go, I want to paint submariners, I want to paint Luftwaffe, I want to paint SS, I want to paint Wehrmacht, I want to paint a Oberst or a lieutenant or whatever it happens to be, and you can go boom, 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 boom. And for a one-stop shop, before these came out, if I wanted to do something similar, I would have probably ended up having to go a couple of Osprey books and then just work out the paint jobs myself or garner them from other paints and other people's. You know, they're really handy. So Kuris has done a really nice job, but I would say a lot of the heavy lifting has been done by the Painting War series. So if you are getting into a new period historically, go and have a look and see what painting, and again, the fact it's called Painting War, Dark Ages, Painting War, the Holy War, you know, shows again that there's a slight translation issue there. But yeah, they're fucking excellent.
And coming back to this project, do you know what I really like about these miniatures?
The fact he's finished them, unlike me. I've had mine for 5 years now, and they haven't even got out of their bags.
Much simpler.
No. Okay.
They are fucking metal.
Oh yeah, metal as fuck. Metal as fuck. Round bases, you can't have everything.
Yeah, there's...
He could put those on at 25 mils quite happily.
I think he has a regiment base, so we have a square base too.
Well, and this is two fat nardies, weirdly. Things like infamy. They keep saying basing doesn't matter, and then they go, but really you need to be on similar bases to your opponent, and we suggest you use this size base, and then they end up putting them on square bases, and you're going, you should just go ahead and say, put them on fucking square bases, lads. So I don't know why they say you don't need to worry about it, and then still go ahead and stick them on the movement trays. But
just to subtly nudge them in the right direction.
I think it's just to placate all the round-based people who are wrong out there. I think that's it. There's a Spanish Civil War book as well, yeah. Which is Spanish Civil War is a really interesting period that doesn't get played a lot. It's like interwar. Empress Miniatures do a really good range. Footsore also do a quite nice range of interwar that you could use some of them for Spanish Civil War. But yeah, it's interesting.
Then we will head up to the next one. If this bloody system has taken my votes, let's just check. No, it hasn't.
Well, no, it hasn't. Well, then we have to stay here. We'll keep staying here.
I'm going to hit him again. Hit me, baby, one more time. Next
Squeeze
up.
me.
Dystopian Wars.
But no, we're not moving off the Dystopian Wars. What the fuck did you say there?
Hit me,
Beast,
baby.
you want now?
What? Hit me, baby, one more time. Don't you know your songs?
Apparently not. Anyway.
It's by the Spears of Brittany.
Right.
From the times long before.
Like Saga. When you've got Breton horse fucking javeliniers.
Could be. So we're having some steampunk.
Yeah, this is a really quick one, but it's got a quite nice tip in it, especially if you're in the UK and you can actually use that link. There are a lot of people out there who do really nice mats for gaming. But those really nice mats for gaming are somewhere in the region of £50 for a neoprene mat.
That's a lot of change.
That 6x4, so 2 meter by 1 meter, sky blue mat for his Dystopian Wars board, which is a faux leather pattern, costs £7 with free shipping. Now, I don't care what naval game you're playing or pirate game you're playing. If you want to have if you're not a big naval fan, if you just have a few games, or if you maybe just like occasionally play a pirate game, you're not going to want to shell out 50 or 60 quid for a neoprene mat.
Not really. And I think...
But shelling out £7, now, you're going to have to wait because it's coming from China.
Well, looking at the enlarged picture, I'd say this would also make a great backdrop for Sky. So, taking pictures of your aeroplanes or anything else.
Or even playing games like Blue Max, Blood Red Skies, that sort of thing.
Aeronautica Imperialis.
That type of thing too. Partly why we're here. So it's mostly the fact that you don't have to chuck money at people, especially for mats you're not going to use often. I say that knowing fine rightly I've spent far too much money on mats I will use once a decade, but these are the things
as long as you have used the mat once, it's all justified.
Definitely justified. But there's a really nice set of islands there that is done using the printable scenery, some sort of stony work type thing, and then he stuck it onto, I think, a bit of MDF or a bit of I think it's foam core. Based on the black showing through. Now, another dip in paint wouldn't go amiss there. Paint and sand and just cover the blackness there because it's a bit patchy. But yeah, so you've got these really nice, quick, easy little islands and a nice little fleet. I'm hoping we see
more. We want more.
I'm not even more about the miniatures. I'd like to see a battle report. Because you never see dystopian wars. I mean, I know obviously. I think War Cradle bought it.
I might be wrong on this, but I'm under the impression that battle reports have been on the slow side.
Battle reports have been. It's a terrible tragedy. I may try and do some myself. I might actually be doing I don't know. I have a thing called Battle Chronicler, which allows you to do battle reports a la old White Dwarf.
It's a nice piece of software, though. Yeah. The way it's working is a bit. It leaves a bit to be desired.
I don't mind it. The last summer campaign from Mantic for Kings of War, the Edge of the Abyss, I did some battle reports using it, and you can do like a photograph of your miniatures and then do like the top-down map with arrows moving and shit. So I might do a little Jerrycan on. There's a few software pieces, and I'm shit at technology, despite being the tech guy. But I might do them anyway because it's not just showing people how to use them; it's showing people they exist. So it'd be nice to see some battle reports, whether it's photo battle reports, video battle reports, or something using software like Chronicler, just to get them out there.
Yeah.
We use this for ocean boards, he says. Texty Lexi navy blue thing. Yeah, that's the stuff Warren and Lloyd bought, like 5,000 meters of it. £7 a meter. So that's actually more expensive than the guy's link on eBay there, where it was £7 for 2 meters. So you're expensive leatherette. You're showing off, you flush bastard.
I would say that it's probably the same Chinese factory.
Yes, Mr. Holland, sir. That is indeed the one I'm talking about, Battle Chronicler. That's quite nice because you can build your units. You go, I want to play. The game I'm going to be playing is going to be mass rank and file. This unit is 5x4. This unit is 10x5. This unit is 2 by blah and 40mm bases. You can set up your base sizes. You can even go, this unit is skirmish on round bases and they're 32mm. So you can program in your base sizes and color code them and put unit identifiers on them and all sorts of stuff. And you can even, if you're clever enough, and I wasn't, but now that I can use Photopea, I am. You can even take pictures of your own terrain. Use Photopea to put them as a PNG file, where it has like
scales.
layers, and then you can drop them into them, so you can actually build your own tables and use your own models as the images for your Battle Chronicler games. You can just set them all up and then set it like a tripod camera up and take photographs and then use it that way. So there's a lot that can be done with it. I just need to sit down with OBS and start playing about and recording voiceovers without swearing.
Oh, without swearing, where's the fun in that?
This is why there are only one Jerrycan every 2 weeks. It's because they have to go through them and just delete any that I swear like fucker in. So who knows why?
Then let's get on to the next Gorka Relic Blade Adventure by Chaos Gorka.
Chaos and/or Gorka discuss.
What the hell is that? A rat-infested pig?
A pig-infested rat? Maybe, I don't know. Not the boss of me, Ray Darcy from Kildare. Yes, Relic Blade.
No, he's not infested. He's throwing it by the looks of it.
We don't often get a chance to look at Relic Blade because it doesn't have a European supplier that's easy to find.
Ah, so it's one for the list. This is a nice looking board.
It is. It's a very nice looking board. And nice looking miniatures as well. He's just generally nice, I feel.
I like.
But he's done some really nice paint jobs as well.
The colours are quite soothing to the eye.
Oh, do you think so? I find that purple very punchy.
Oh no, it's very soothing.
But I do like the fact that he's used purple for the or purple red for the colour, for the skin, for the ogre, because I'm doing that for my own in Kings of War. So that's a Rotarius.
So the Skelly Bob is just chillaxing in the trees.
Yeah, you know.
Having a wank with his boner.
If you draw the sword, you get to be King of the Skelly Bobs.
Well, that's not a bad job to be.
Some farcical fungal ceremony.
Yes, very much.
I suggest you have a look at your color settings on your monitor if you think that ogre's red. But yeah, Relic Blade.
Well, it's
every now and
red-ish.
again they threaten to fucking fly. Every now and again they threaten to get a UK supplier, and then they get a UK supplier for like
a month.
Yeah, I was going to say a week and a half, and then that never happens again, which is a shame because they just keep doing really nice stuff for Relic Blades. It's very Hellboy-like. The elves they've done in the past are very Hellboy-like, especially if you don't know Hellboy the comic, but the films, the second film where you've got Prince Nuada, but specifically the cartoon bit at the start where they're explaining how the war between humans and the Fae kicked off, and they have a very distinct cartoony look, and the elves for Relic Blade are like that. They look like they've just stepped out of that Hellboy animation. I'd be fascinated to see more about it.
But don't wake the baby.
No, don't wake the baby. Don't never wake the baby.
No, this is a fine paint job. Very, very nicely done. Very much fond of it.
I do like Piggy.
It's weird. It's like a traffic accident. You don't want to look, but you can't look away.
Well, yeah. Are you just staring now at the rat-tailed codpiece on Pigman there?
I might.
Is that what you can't look away from?
I might.
I quite like the third image.
The glorious Jerry shot, yes.
Oh, yeah.
The combined Jerry and Lloyd shot, I have to say. So, next up in our list of never-ending stories is Alono. Mission statement starting point 4. My first serious attempt at weathering a World War II tank.
Never-ending story.
How can you do a unserious attempt? Do you just cackle and laugh all the time?
I think Lorna has never experimented with the joy that is historics before. So this was his first attempt to actually do something and do it properly, historically accurate. So
how boring is that?
Oh no, it's great. I think I'd seen this and then I got into it and started talking to him, and then went this and this is what you need, and sent him on his way. And then I went, if you need me, ask me. But he just kind of ran with it.
And he never asked.
He didn't ask any more after I went, this is what you can and cannot do. Oi, go nuts, son. He went with it. So, fucking worms.
So he's...
I would love to show you my rat Noija Tat, but I haven't bought one yet. However, at some stage I will.
A live one, or...?
No, there's a company in Spain called Forged in Battle who do 15mm. They mostly do 15mm World War II, although they've started doing Ancients and Dark Ages. They sell a rat, as in Hitler's super tank that he wanted people to build until he pointed out physics would get in the way. It costs like €110 in 15mm scale because it's fucking bigger than the Reichstag. It's ridiculous. And I keep looking at it going, I should buy one of those.
You can't buy that.
I can't fucking buy it.
No, you can't.
You're not the boss of me.
John would nick it.
He's nowhere near me. Oh no, the mouse is a baby. Come on. If in 15mm scale, hang on a second, because I can show you this. This is a mouse in 15mm scale, because I own one. See that? It's about that big.
The rat was twice the size?
No, the rat would be this big. Am I still in shot there?
Barely.
Just about. So the rat is this big and about that high.
It's like the Leviathan rolling fortress for 40k.
Yeah. Except, that made more sense. Anyway, so yeah, at some point I will show you my rat. Anywho.
Failed attempt at shipping.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying earlier, that there's a Jerrycan coming up. So he did chipping. He did it based on John's chipping, I think, which, it's not his fault. John does his best.
But it's not the salt and hairspray method? I've
got a Jerrycan coming next week, which is both, which is hairspray and or salt, which probably would have helped him a bit here because he got the base color rust / red oxide down, which would be the base German primer anyway. Probably a little bit lighter than that, but it's not a bad color to go for. You can find Panzerraces, lucky bastard. I don't have any shops that sell that anymore. But he did the base color, and then went to chip it off, and it didn't work.
Because there's a layer missing.
I think it's the chipping medium he used. I'm not sure. I have crackle medium, but I've never used the chipping medium, and I'm not sure how it's supposed to go down and how it's supposed to be used. So hey ho, them's the breaks. The net result was it didn't work, and then so he ended up having to go and just do it sort of not the old-fashioned way, but instead of doing realistic chipping by removing paint, he had to do chipping by adding paint on top, so sponges and painting it on. But it's quite nice. That's why he's for late war.
That's why I was saying that he's missing the layer between the base coat, which has to stay on the model, and the color coat that has to go off, and for the actual chipping to take effect.
Mm. Dun, 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 dun. You've got one using the chipping medium. Is it any good, or is it shite, Amanda? Because I've never had a problem with chipping using hairspray. I don't see the need to buy chipping medium. I mean, I did this as a test using hairspray. I'm probably tiny and you're not going to be able to see this.
I can see this very well.
Can you see that? Okay, yeah. All right, grand. So yeah, so this was a proto test without doing the rust layer underneath first.
It was in focus for a second, and then we could see clear cuts of
don't worry
flaked paint.
Yeah. But I mean that's with a brush or a toothpick or whatever the fuck you happen to have to hand, and doesn't require anything more than a tin of whatever shit hairspray you can find. Now, I've been told in the past that cheap hairspray is better. I just bought this Bristow, because Eric Bristow was a fucking legend in the darts whenever I was a kid. So I don't know how good, bad, or indifferent Bristow's is. But yeah. Is this the blah 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 light blah 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 light rust blah blah blah? Open like a new tab. Something like that would do. I have an AK set of rust. No, that's the Africa core set. That's not the rust. There's the rust. Too many paint sets, so little time. I've got this AK set, which is like chipping fluid, light rust, dark rust, medium rust. Really, any sort of browns and reds you have will do the job. You don't need a specific rust set. But no, what I was saying it will do as a base. Germans used the red oxide primer in World War II, and depending on the period, they actually used the base oxide primer as a camouflage coat. So essentially, they would prime the entire thing red, and then later on in the war, they would go prime it red, mask some of it, and then spray another color on top, and use the primer as a camouflage color because it was cheaper than actually spraying it with a base coat and then spraying it again with a red brown. So you had these. Well, anyway,
and faster too.
Yeah, and faster as well. But it was more a material issue than anything else. But the red oxide primer they used was lighter in color than the red rust base coat he's used. Just those things. But anyway, he then goes on and uses some silly putty to do some masking. He does run into issues with this as well.
This look reminds me of Robert's project with the green stuff tentacle monster.
Yeah. Once he got the colors down though and removed the mask, it left a residue behind that he can't remove. I've used this putty many times and it has not done this previously. No idea why it's done that. Does silly putty go off over time? No is the answer. Silly putty is silicon bromide, so like anybody who cooks and has a lot of silicon tools in their kitchen, it does not go off. However, every time you spray stuff, you'll get a coating of the paint, and then when you peel it off and mix it, that will be inside it. So it doesn't go off, but it can get diluted. It's not the right word, but essentially you're mixing impurities inside it that
it's getting saturated with particles and
yeah. So the best way, if you plan on doing a masking job like this, is varnish between every layer. It's a pain in the hole, but if you have an airbrush and you're doing this anyway, it's not that much of a difference. So you would spray a layer, varnish the layer, put the next layer on, and the varnish protects you from getting any gank in between. Anybody who's seen, there was a Flames of War boot camp where I taught a French fella. Actually, no, I say a French fella. I think he was Belgian, actually. Guillaume. I showed him how to do this using rattle cans and silly putty. The rattle cans had so much gank in them from the propellant that I just threw the silly putty I'd loaned him in the bin after that weekend because it was fucked. And it wasn't because the silly putty had gone off. It was just fucked from so many other chemicals sprayed on it. But after all of that, he has ended up with a 3-tone German camo.
And then he went on brush stippling using a recommended tool by Genuine Vision.
Yes.
What company again did those things on a largely expensive scale?
Which one? Where are we?
We're at the
sponge chipping bit.
Yeah, the pencil with the sponge bit in the back. There was a company last year that did. Was it Vallejo or Armipater?
I must have missed that because I would have laughed my ass off.
Some company did that.
It's not beyond the realms of possibility. As people who've seen the animal hide Jerrycan I did, you can get all different types of sponges, and the expensive sponges aren't always the best. So
it was, when I saw that, it was last year, early last year maybe, when I saw this just after a weekend or something where there was sponge stippling discussed, and then somebody brought out this hollow tube with a shaped sponge in it.
Oh,
For ample amounts of money.
that does seem like it's a terrible, terrible waste.
I think Green Stuff World could be at Panzer Kaputt. It could be very well Green Stuff World.
Yeah. They are keen on getting people to buy stuff. The GW of non-GW.
And I don't blame them if people are willing to pay for such things. Let them
It's one
pay.
of those things. You don't need to. But he's done, I mean, once you get the stippling on there, it's a bit heavy.
Yeah, and he has made the mistake, in my opinion, that he had done the stippling first and then applied the transfers. He should have applied the transfers first.
Weathering should always be the last thing you do. So transfers on, seal it, and then weather, and then that way you could even do things like stipple the camo colors over the transfers, so it looks like some of the paint from the unit markings have been chipped away, and you're seeing like the cream or the green underneath. Because if you ever see the stark transfer on top, it sits out too much. I probably would have went for grey primer as a initial sort of weathering, and then put the rust red on top of that, and then you get a bit of extra sort of level of weathering on it. But it's quite nice.
But the end result isn't too bad, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean,
it's decent. It's nice.
He's done well there. Obviously, this is his first proper historical thing, so there's still bits that he probably should have done that he didn't. So, for example, on the tank, he hasn't painted the wooden handle of the spade and the bolt cutters that are on the side of it. So they're currently camouflaged, which they wouldn't have been. They would have camoed the tank and then strapped those tools on there, including things like that big fucking U-shaped or C-shaped piece of shit that they use to put the track back on if they've track issues. That should be probably just stark metal. So yeah, those little details would just bring it out again. But it's a really nice. I mean, if you stuck that on the table, I would not be adverse to looking at that, to playing with that, as far as a late war German Panther goes.
No, not at all.
It's interesting as well when you see the weathering on there. The last pictures where it looks more subdued compared to the earlier ones before he puts it on, where you've got the very stark green, brown, and cream that look very bright and almost too garish.
It looks weird, yeah.
Yeah, and then once the weathering's on there, it pulls it all back, which is what you want to see. And it's very good for late war. I mean, 1945, fuck your red oxide. Nobody's got dye for that. Chocolate brown the whole way. So yeah, I like it. Lorner's done well. Well done him. Gets to live.
And to make another one. So, next up then is...
It depends, Dan, on the country and period of the war. But in most cases, if you've ever painted over a nail, you know it's a fucker to get that nail out if you need to, because it's now semi-glued in place. So a lot of tanks wouldn't have had them put in situ, especially when you left them off. Then there's the oxide primer below it.
I think there would be some crews painting their tools after the fact, just to have them not sticking out like a sore thumb.
Depending on depending on the army and time, a lot of German stuff was painted in factory, but there was a point where they would literally send out a block of dye or block of pigment, and then it would be up to the crew to apply it. So they would get a Dunkelgelb base coat tank, and then they would get a block of green and a block of red brown, and they would have to dilute it with diesel and apply it with an airbrush, brushes, or a fucking rag on a stick, depending on where they were in the field. So yes, you could get them where they would be painted in situ. I think a lot of the time I would pick, to be perfectly honest, I would pick them out anyway, just for gaming modelling point of view. It adds another colour, it adds a bit of interest and detail to the tank. If everything's painted the same colour, it all kind of blurs and doesn't look as realistic, even though sometimes it's more realistic, if that makes sense.
Sort of. So the next is a weird thing, I think. I painted stuff. Weird project. Rumors by Taurus.
Yeah, and this is
he having
active / complete.
Is he having a stroke by writing this weird?
No, it's Romans that go to the house. He bought an army. He bought a late Imperial Roman army from Plastic Soldier. So this is the Unicast, Soycast, Ultracast, Casticast, depending on who the fuck you talk to at any given day of the week in Plastic Soldier. But this is a Pacto army from Meg. And, you know, it's a 50mm simple paint job. And then dip and done.
I really am a bit baffled about this project. Why is this in here? I painted things.
To show he painted stuff. That is a pot of paint. And possibly the same size brush that Taurus used. Slap it the fuck on there. But yeah, it's a simple system. He went for the Army Painter system, which is base coat, dip, done. And then flock the bases and walk away.
Take a picture with a weird googly supported photo editor.
Ultimate photo editor. Well, at least it's not on its side, so it's doing its job. Can't argue with that. True, I would be interested to see the rest of the army because it's only a Pacto. I got a message from Pierce, who does the painting for Army Painter, or not Army Painter, for Plastic Soldier, that they've sent the 2 new army sets to me to review, and possibly should be getting the book for a campaign coming up for the Huns, Scourge of God. So
let me get this straight. This box he has actually in it 64 infantry, 16 cavalry, and 2 generals.
Yes, 15mm figures based on
82 miniatures in one box, and he's showing off what?
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12,
22?
14, 16, 20, 23. There's 3 on the command stand. So that's a third of it done. So I mean, I'm hoping he's going to come back and do the rest. It's you only need 3 for a crusade. Fucking 23s. You know, you could have half the Holy Land back for that. Have Outremer do it up like a kipper. But that is essentially a unit for Meg, because you're using 3 bases wide, 2 bases deep. Boom, done. So that would be a unit. He has potentially 4 of those, 5 of those in that Pacto set, which is the half-size starter set for 15mm Ancients. I do want to see more. I have things like these, which would be... This is a 24 infantry pack with 8 archers, which would be another like 8 bases worth in this little blister pack.
This is a thing I've never seen in person in any game shop around here. This is weird. The little packs? Yes.
I like it.
I like that too.
I mean, the idea that you just put them on the... Same as blister packs, you just hang them on the shelf.
Yeah, but...
and that's a unit. Or possibly 2 units for Meg in 15mm. I'm really hoping to get my hands on the Corvus Belly stuff. And there's Ziston coming as well in the Ultra Uni Soy cast system, whatever the fuck it's called. Changes depending on how I'm feeling.
Ultra cast plastic figures.
Yeah. So if I pull a strip out there, so there's 5 little fuckers on that spray.
Oh, they're cute.
They are. And I mean, you know, they do the job, but these are like the ones Taurus have there. These are Lurkio sculpts that have been cast in Ultracast. So
need a bit of work.
They don't need a bit of work. They're a bit flat sculpt-wise. I know people were complaining, going, "Oh, fucking plastic soldier stuff is so flat." Man. Going, no. The Lurkio figures they're based on are a bit flat. They're practically fucking two-dimensional. That's like saying concrete can only make a square block because you've seen a square block. No, it's the form it fills. So, but yeah, it's a nice little start. Anybody who sees Toros about,
give him a pat on the back.
Ah, no,
Tell him
kicking the balls. And
tell him to do the rest.
Fucking get the rest. Yeah.
So.
Want to try and get a couple of armies out of the way.
We're almost at an end, and there's Hairy Brains making a fist of Indomitus.
Festing the Indomitables. Imperial festing in this case, actually. So you can see what that's a pun, making a fest because they're Imperial fests. See fuck you too, Foamy, you fuck. Hope you got rabies, you little shit. Yeah.
He's putting a lot of work into the basing before the model is done.
Oh, I imagine so. I mean, at the end of the day, the only thing you're going to do is put a GW fucking Space Marine on top of it, so the model's the least of the thing. Get a base right and you're flying.
Buzz Marines.
Spacamaran.
Is this multi-layers on the same, or is this just seeing what sticks? No, it's layering.
No, he's stuck some Vallejo mud on, and then he's dry brushed it up, and then going to black rim it. But the paint schemes themselves, I think, are a little interesting because he's done, I think, 2 different versions of the Imperial Fest. So he's a single paint scheme, then a secondary paint scheme on one of the sword and board looking fellas to
bright
try and
yellow. I give him that.
They used to call the Festos the Custard Marines. I don't know why. Maybe somebody in the comments will know why they were called rimming and festing. Oh, fuck yeah.
We are it's past 10 p.m., so no need to hold back.
No. Definitely, you're all fine. We're all fine here. How are you? But yeah, it's nice because you've got this.
And he's using a very, very weird mix of paints.
Yeah, there's a
lot of citadels, some
unusual complications there.
Some contrast, and then glowing paint from Vallejo.
Yeah, I think he started with a yellow spray base, which a lot of people are using the Nazdrag yellow contrast to try and do Imperial Fests, which dulls them down a bit. They're not quite as punchy.
He used demonic yellow from Army Painter.
Yeah. So he's gone balls deep there,
and then a yellow wash over the top.
With the base paint is super punchy yellow, and I think they really deserve it because they're not a terrible chapter, not like the Ultramarines or the Blood Angels or any of those cunts. They're a good chapter, and they deserve to be super bright and poppy. And I always remember the bit from Rogue Trader where there's the, camouflage is the color of fear. I have no need to hide from my enemies. My colors proclaim louder than words. I am proud to live. I am proud to die. I know that was the Rainbow Warriors chapter master who said that before you can't start saying anything. Fuck yous. But I always imagine Marines should be the punchy fuckers. I used to play against a fella called John Posty. Posty would have Imperial Guard with Space Marines in his 40k army, and he would have his Space Marines in front and the Imperial Guard hide behind them. And most people would go, surely the Imperial Guard should be in the front, hiding behind the Space Marines. And he was going, no, Space Marines threw up armor. They take all the hits. The Imperial Guard keep trucking away, just shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting until you're dead. And that is how the 40k fucking worldview should be. It's not, I'll throw 50 Marines into the 4. It's, I'll throw 50 Marines into the 4 and then have 500 Imperial Guard raping the shit out of everybody with lasgun fire.
And bayonets.
And you don't seem to get that these days. It's like, oh, I'm going to have my grim dark fucking semi-camouflaged Imperial fists hiding at the back. Not balls, bright poppy colours. Let the fuckers know who's coming, and then dance on their faces.
Yeah, this.
You get Ultramarines, you get a lot of abuse. You should do. Space Marines are terrible. I ran a competition one summer in GW Belfast where we see if we could wipe out the Ultramarine chapter. I got an A2 sheet of paper and I listed the entire chapter. So first company, second company, third company, so on and so forth, plus the chapter commanders. And anybody who played a game against Ultramarines, we tallied up the kills and would mark them off. So, if somebody killed 5 assault troopers, they would cut off the 5 assault troopers. If they killed 10 scouts would be knocked off. And we just fucking red markered through those cunts throughout summer. I was like, we know it takes years to fucking grow a Marine. If we're quick, in 2 months we can just wipe the Ultramarines out.
In an official GW store.
Oh yeah, fuck them. Oh, nobody likes Ultramarines. You have to bear in mind, King Chaos there, fucking Robo Girly Man, fucked all of the legions into chapters for no apparent reason, and then has reappeared and is attempting to unplug his dad. And he's just if he's not fucking Chaos, he really should be just designated as a heretic.
We need
a couple of sensei just to rock up and stab the shit out of him. Just go, what have you done to my granddad? Fuck you. Gink, gink, gink. Do.
Well, then let's head off to the last project for today. Which is that was the last project.
No, that was the last project.
The last tab on my browser is my ranting on the Kickstarter is doing a shit design UI.
Oh,
because
nice. Tell us about this, because I haven't seen this yet. Well, I knew it was coming, but I couldn't give a fuck.
So, Dungeons and Lasers is Kickstarter. I was looking at it, and because their Kickstarter is so stuffed full, we're only getting a small portion of my screen is actually used for the project. So if I'm looking at this now, I'm using a third of my widescreen.
What the fuck is that? No, hold the fucking phone. What is that? I need to put my glasses on.
That's the lasers.
No. What is Jerry the fucking Jello?
What?
That early backer miniature.
It's that
Jerry
the
Jello
with.
Is that a gelatinous cube?
It looks like
jousting.
Yep.
That's fucking retarded, isn't it? Who got dropped on their head whenever they fucking came up with that one?
Yeah,
Jesus wept.
Well, it's totally annoying because this is such a huge project. I have to scroll for ages and ages, and because they only use pictures, you can't search any terms.
I would like to point out that
this,
in the grand scheme of Kickstarter things, that's much better than what I've got recently.
Oh, I'm sure there are much worse things, and I'm not really complaining about Archon Studios here. It's the design of Kickstarter itself, because they are so focused on mobile presentation. It drives me...
is that what it is?
Yeah.
I got this today in my email. Now, I back a lot of Tiny Fighting Men Kickstarters, so clearly they go, he likes toys. And then today I got this email going, the Duo Pro, the customizable sex toy you can build at home. You're going, that's not the toys I buy, Kickstarter. You've watched me sink several £1,000s into fucking toys, and now you're going, you too can fucking make a tuning fork vibrator at home that you build yourself. I tell you what, if I want a vibrator, I don't want to have to build it myself. I just want to pop the batteries in and fucking frig my bell end away. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's
just, this is the shit I have to put up with from Kickstarter.
That's almost
Duet Pro. The Tesla vibrators, apparently.
And I thought it was weird when some Chinese manufacturer is coming up to my hobby account and saying, "We produce card sleeves. Do you need card sleeves? we can produce
card sleeves. I've got a lot of shit from Kickstarter in the past, but this one took the fucking cake today. All on the plus side, though, because obviously tech guy that I am. So it's almost it's bedtime for Tim. I don't even know if I should tell the story. So I had to spend like half an hour with everybody over the weekend for the UK Games Expo, setting them up and then making sure everything was running. So I had a chat with a lot of them, which meant I had a great time. I'd like chat to the guys from Fesliyan for like half an hour before they went off to do their like horror RPG thing. And so Britannia Games, Chivalry and Sorcery, they were talking about, and I got a chance to talk to Steve and Andy for about half an hour, and we just went off on one about RPGs, Tunnels and Trolls, fucking classic games, Call of Cthulhu, which is fucking great. After they were on, Steve sent me a message going, I'm going to send you a link to the Chivalry and Sorcery game. So they sent me a link to the drive-through RPG PDF of it.
Including a code?
Yeah, including the code. So I got Chivalry and Sorcery. And he went, I'd really like to know what you think about it. It's like, there's two versions. You get the regular version of the book plus a printer-friendly version for $30. And he's going, do you think that's good value? The page count is 600 pages. I was going, yes. I've seen fuckers sell 150-page PDFs for $20. Never mind a 600-page fucking version of a game, and then you get two versions of it in case you want to print it out. So I will be doing a review on Chivalry and Sorcery once I've finished reading it, and maybe at some point, not too far down the line, after we've finished killing each other in Call of Cthulhu, I might run Chivalry and Sorcery for the group. I'll see, because it's really interesting.
That would
it was
be
good fun.
Interesting.
I'd some really those UK Games Expo videos where they're like Justin and Warren are chatting away. If only I had recorded what I did beforehand, because there were some fucking weird conversations about gaming for half an hour beforehand where I'm going blah 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 this. They're going this. I was going to mention this. You're going, oh, but this and that. Going that too. Oh my word! It's great. It's so funny.
Well,
I'm an old crusty gamer.
It pays off to be at the right spot at the right time sometimes.
The 5th edition D&D book is 50 quid. Really? Fuck. I'll say this. They sent me, I mean, they didn't have to. I think it was just because we'd spent half an hour chatting about old style gaming and about, I hadn't played Chivalry and Sorcery, but I played Tunnels and Trolls and Cock and D&D and all sorts of shit going back into the mist of time, and we just got into a whole funk where the three of us were sitting there like old crusty fucks discussing games we'd played, and so they went, I'll send you the 5th edition one, but it's a 600-page fucking book.
Who has time to read that?
Oh, I do fuck all else with my life. There's only so much you can masturbate in a day before you don't get anything else out. It's just painful. It got so painful the other day I felt like calling the rape crisis line on myself. It's like, I just can't. I can't anymore, but I can't stop. It's painful. It hurts. I'm bleeding. Stop me, somebody. They said they'd send police officers around, but nobody appeared.
I'm just trying to find this goddamn... I need this text.
Oh, textbooks are terrible.
I tried to follow the UK Games Expo.
Did I ever play Pendragon? Rick?
Oh god, now you have done it.
If you ever come across a bunch of 6-fingered fucks, they belong to a terrible, terrible bastard who sired bastards everywhere around the countryside. That's particularly good. Pendragon's a whole other bundle of fun, though. I mean, D&D and Chivalry and Sorcery are kind of similar in that you play a character and your character does stuff. Pendragon is all about building your family. So, you may start off playing a character and then you sire some children and then they take over whenever your own character gets too old or dies, and you have these whole lineages. Yeah, Pendragon's fucking amazing. Pendragon has also seen better days due to a student house that had a damp problem. That's what happens when you're an old man. Yeah, this is 4th edition.
What I was just about to say, I tried to follow the UK Games Expo and I was totally lost. I ended up with 25 different Discord servers and whatnot, and I just couldn't keep. I didn't know where to go.
Arse Magic is balls. Sorry, just seen Arse Magic being mentioned in vain. And you're not the first person to mention Arse Magic this week. Yeah, I think the problem was that like 3 stages plus every company had their own Discord.
Yeah.
Or at least it felt like every company had their own Discord. So
at least
the main stage was us, which was just talking to companies who were either sponsoring or had bought airtime, or people like the shop on the Borderlands who just sells like classic RPGs and shit like that, who just essentially went, I'm just going to buy airtime, and if you just look at my website, you'll be done in like 5 minutes. So it just turned into like a 45-minute chat with Mark about role-playing and how you introduce people and stuff. It was one of the best fucking interviews of the weekend, because he wasn't just going sell. He was going, you know what's great? Fucking games are great, and I'm going to tell you what I like about games, and here's how you get people into games. Games. It was amazing.
Do you have a minute to talk about a lot and save your games?
Yeah, exactly. So you had that, but then UK Games Expo had like 2 Twitch streams for their 2 stages, and then there were sub things. Yeah, if you're into board games, there's a lot going on. I'm not.
I think that was the main reason why I was so lost. When you looked at the page of the UK Games Expo and you filtered by miniature games, there was one event for miniatures.
Yeah.
And that was Blood Bowl on Fumble.
Yeah, I think Marvel Crisis Protocol was there in some form of tabletop simulator thing, which I can only imagine was fucking horrendous. But there were a couple of really good RPG. Anybody who's into RPGs, if you go to On Tabletop Clips on YouTube and look for the Shop on the Borderlands interview with Mark, that's 45 minutes of just, I fucking love RPGs. Let's talk about RPGs for quarters of an hour. But he throws in tips for gaming and for GMs and new people. So it wasn't just him just chatting and nostalgically, wistfully looking back. There's some really good stuff in it if people are just getting into RPGs. Freya Legan did a 4-man panel on horror in RPGs, and they had the writer of Alien, the writer of Vis, and the writer of Mörka, which is how it's pronounced in Swedish. So that's a really good one for RPGs as well. And then the guys from Brit Games, Chivalry and Sorcery, those 3 are well worth looking at. Fuck the rest, it's only board games. They're not real people. They're not like war gamers. Fuck them. And I know at some point Lena will see this. But those three on the Clips channel about RPGs are just fucking great. Just stick them on. Sit back. It's great.
To be honest,
it wasn't a GM advice show per se, but it was very close to it.
And to be honest, the UK Games Expo isn't a expo about miniature games. So
no, it is a board game centric convention, and the fact that there were even 3 out of the 20 interviews were about RPGs was more than I thought we'd see. So I was happy as a pig in shit. I had so much fun talking to those guys before and after. So yeah, that was good. We're way past the half hour because you fucking distracted me again, Tim.
I'm having a lit finger.
Oh my god. Oh Jesus, like E.T.'s ghost has come again. Oh my word.
Phone home.
Yeah, well, Chivalry and Sorcery, anybody who wants to run a RPG that is either purely historic, and they can do it from Dark Age to medieval, sort of feudal periods, can use Chivalry and Sorcery. And if they want to run it as a fantasy-esque game, they can do it as well using that system. It's a very good system for it. It's a little bit more robust than Dungeons and Dragons. And you can just kick back and watch. And you can literally watch peasants take down a knight because you do suffer fatigue. You can't swing a sword permanently at full strength all day, every day. You will get tired. And at that point, some fucker who owns half a plot of land will stab you with a pitchfork. It's good.
So
it's good times.
You said clips?
Clips.
Let's see if there's something called clips in my
it's on tabletop space clips. On tabletop, one word.
There it is.
So there you go. If you scroll down slightly to get away from
We're going to
the whole
videos,
fucking days. So
SMOD Shop on the Borderlands.
Shop on the Borderlands, smashing that one. You definitely want that.
We don't
Free
want
Legion, there's like a 4-man one. That's good as well. And then the Chivalry and Sorcery from Brick Games. There's like 3 hours of good quality.
I think this is the one that is currently running on the homepage. The Twitch
Look,
rerun.
It's Future Justin in the Magic Mirror. You can see what Future Justin becomes. Apparently, at some point in the future, Justin doesn't become a Captain Alpha Striker and enjoys games instead.
Because
who would have known? I
Just
imagine it got beaten out.
This is the current homepage. This is the actual Twitch rerun that is currently running, and I think it was just about now. Go. Yep, it is. Shop of the Borderlands COUK.
That was great. We were talking beforehand because he sells old shit. It's like I sell secondhand stuff and old shit and rare shit. And I'm going, do you have stocks heretics? And he's going, oh, that really is fucking rare. I'm going, yes, it is. I want it though. Going,
that's one.
Had it. Went, why do you not have it now?
That's one of the interviews I actually stumbled upon and stuck with it for a while when he started talking about his weird traveler T-shirt.
Oh yeah. Good times.
Well, that being said, and Jerry reminding me that I'm an old fart, need to get to bed now.
Yeah.
I say thank you, Jerry, for being here. So thank you, crowd, for putting up with us old farts again. Remember, next week will be a special edition of sorts, if there's nothing coming between, like another meltdown on global scale.
I don't think so. I think that's later in the year.
Yeah, I'm having a bet on North Korea invading South Korea under female leadership.
Let me just check. There's only 2 more pandemics, 6 storms, 4 floods, and a race war until Christmas.
Well, maybe there's
2020 is flying in,
and there's this 0.2% probability of a meteor hitting Earth. So there's that.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah. Chat. We will see you later. Jerry, say goodbye to the chat.
Tatty bye.
Bye bye.